Now, the story about Fort Bragg Green Beret is leading to action on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers are close to approving a bill that could provide relief to members of the armed services who suffer from medical malpractice while in the military's care. He's getting help from a member of Congress from North Carolina. Our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Fry joins us more on this story. And Kevin, who is Sergeant First Class Richard Stayskull?
Right, so as you mentioned, he's a Green Beret from Fort Bragg, and this story all goes back a few years when he says that despite multiple visits to the doctors, they never actually treated or dealt with a mass on his lung. He eventually was diagnosed with stage 3, which then progressed to stage 4 lung cancer, with the tumor spreading throughout parts of his body. And so now he is really taking the fight to Capitol Hill because one of the things that he's running up against is that he cannot sue the government for medical malpractice, despite the fact that he was treated in the military's care. And so he is on Capitol Hill, has been pushing for a change, got a lawyer involved, and they have taken some action. And so I had a chance to ask him about kind of the process of all of this. He talked about why it was important for him to be there, what it was like to continuously be on Capitol Hill pushing for change.
It's been rough, you know, and my wife and I, we've sat down many times and talked, you know, we got to keep doing this, got to keep sharing the story, no matter how painful it is. And, you know, it's not really just my story, it's all the stories before me, and, you know, so I kind of take that into account when I go to tell the story.
And so he has gone around meeting with lawmakers. He also testified before a panel of lawmakers about his situation, and that has actually led to the introduction of legislation, which is now kind of getting on a fast track here in D.C., Tim.
Well, speaking of that, how did this proposed change come about then?
Right, so Congressman Hudson, who represents the Fort Bragg area, along with some other lawmakers, a bipartisan coalition, came together to basically try to dismantle, or at least poke a hole in this 1950 Supreme Court case that prevents them from being able to sue, to do medical malpractice suits. And so what they ended up agreeing on in this new large defense bill that's going to be running through Congress over the next couple days is sort of this agreement that allows them to file claims with the Department of Defense and get some compensation. This is different than the overall bill that they worked on, that Hudson and others worked on, but it's part of a compromise that Hudson says is a very important step. And here's a little bit of why Hudson thought it was so important to work on this Stayskull case. He is, as you will see, very inspired by this man.
You know, a lot of us in his situation might spend the last days we have with our family, maybe bitter and upset and frustrated, but in Rich's case, he's using this opportunity, this tragedy that he's part of, to help others, and it's just incredible.
And so just kind of lay the ground of where things are. That compromise legislation that's part of this larger defense bill has already passed the House. It is now going to likely get through the Senate this week and then go to the President. So this is obviously a very big win for the Stayskull family. And I spoke to his lawyer. They have the intention to file a claim with the Department of Defense once this bill is signed into law. Also asked Stayskull if this means he's going to now take a breather since he does have terminal cancer, maybe spend some time with his kids at home, and he was already on to the next idea of something else he can do to try to advocate for on Capitol Hill. He is certainly not sitting down and sitting out despite this cancer, Tim.
Wow, incredible story. Kevin Fry in Washington. I thank you so much, sir.